say change is good, but I gotta say, I like our old song better.
Oh, really? You crapping on? Okay, so it's listen. It's not finalized.
It might grow on me.
That's the song. That is the song, but I will pull back the curtain and let you know that the actual official finalized version of the new intro has like audio clips from us in the past kind of layered over top of it. And then right before it kicks off and we start talking, it's got a voiceover artist who, like a really great sounding female voice artist who does, one of those, "You're listening to the Movie Men podcast." And then it like...
For a minute there, I was thinking like she was going to do like a metal version singing the Movie Men podcast or something like that,
Yeah, no. But it is, you know what? There's always growing pains with the new song. Always growing pains.
Change is good.
Yeah.
So if you're like me out there and you're like, oh man, that other song was just so catchy, change is good. Give it time.
Yeah.
Especially with nothing underwear. Else, it will grow on you.
Yeah.
Hopefully not like a fungus or a weed, but like a beautiful flower.
Yeah. See, the words underwear and fungus should never be spoken that close together. Now we've entered into a weird zone.
Who said underwear? Weird. I didn't say underwear.
Well, I said underwear. You said change is good. And I said, yeah, especially underwear. Oh. And then like 20 seconds later, you're like, fungus. Fungus growing on you. And I'm like, ew. Hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
The B Team.
My name is Brady.
And I am Carl.
And not only welcome to the Movie Men podcast, but welcome to a particularly edition. I mean, sort of. A special edition of our weekly news show. Only special, I guess, in the sense that it's a 2-week episode because, well, we skipped last week. So that's...
we just couldn't have our stars align this last week.
Yeah, you know what? It was the long weekend, and then my schedule was a little... I was, I've got a job where I'm normally working like later of the week into weekends, but this time
I was
texted
me
like
on the Monday
early.
When we normally record and like, are you ready to go? And I'm like, I'm driving home from camp.
Yeah, Camp Krusty. So anyways, we've got a bunch of topics. We've got 9 topics to cover that span 2 weeks. Let's kind of just
dig in.
Right? Yeah. Fast and the Furious. So I was late to the Fast and the Furious train. Very late. Like I saw all of them. I'd seen all of the ones that were out at that point for the first time back maybe 6 years ago, 6 years ago. And so I think only 1 or 2 have come out theatrically since then. There was quite a back catalog when I finally sat down and watched them. I don't know. Like the first one I found kind of fun and fascinating and like a neat concept. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know how you make 10 of these things, but okay, cool. Like we'll kind of see where this goes.
You go to space.
The second one just missed for me. Like the second one, I did not. I was like, it's not.
Was the second one the Tokyo one, or was that the third one?
The Tokyo's the third one, but I don't even think Vin Diesel's in the second one, or maybe he is, but he like it was like a.
He shows up at the end of... I haven't seen the Tokyo one, but I know he shows up right at the end.
He shows up at the end of that one, but even the second one felt like a big departure from... Like, they hadn't figured out what aspect of the franchise was going to be their continue through. Ultimately what that landed on was Dominic Toretto and his family, but it took them some films to get there. had the opportunity once.
Since turned, it just crossed my mind. It seems like I haven't seen anything. I've only seen like the first one and I think maybe the third or fourth one. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, from what I know of where it's gone, it seems like it's just become the Triple X movie, the spy Triple X movie.
Kind of.
Vin Diesel. It seems like it's turned into that meets Transformers, but the cars don't transform. They're just
they were really cool. They were, it started out and they were a crew of car enthusiasts who were also, maybe into some questionable activity, and then from there, like they're essentially superheroes and super spy government, like whatever. Like it just turned into this crazy thing. And they're still entertaining. Like it kind of successfully transitioned into something completely different and took on a whole new life, and it's fun and whatever. We've known for a very, very, very long time now that Fast X or Fast 10, which is the upcoming one, is supposed to be it. Like that's where they're, they've set a roadmap. Right. And they're ending at Fast and the Furious 10. Now, there's been rumors about, and just recently Vin Diesel kind of gave a bunch of credit to the idea that there is an all-female Fast and the Furious spinoff coming. We did get the Hobbs and Shaw film, which was a Fast and the Furious universe spinoff film. So there's the potential for a Hobbs and Shaw sequel. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But 10 was kind of it. 10 was it for the main franchise. Well, then, not super long ago, a couple months back, maybe not a couple, like 6 or 7 months ago, it was sort of confirmed that Fast and the Furious X was actually like a part 1, part 2 type of thing. Right? And that they were going to split the final one into 2 films, and that was the big send-off. That's what it is. Here we go. Well, recently in an interview, Vin Diesel was talking, and he kind of has given a lot of credit to the idea that maybe Fast X is actually a trilogy of films. But even he kind of played like a little unsure about it, which I think is kind of bizarre considering that Fast 10 is now in the theaters. But yeah, it was kind of pointed out that, like, each story has 3 acts, and maybe Fast X has 3 acts, and those 3 acts are told over the course of 3 films. But like typically the first act of a film, the first act of any story, doesn't make a great movie if that's all you're telling, right? Your first act is just a bunch of setup, and it's whatever else. So I don't know. It kind of sounds like that might be where it's going. It kind of sounds like maybe it's the studio that is wanting that, which would not surprise me at all, because the Fast and the Furious franchise, regardless of something, it's regardless of whether or not it's something that you enjoy or you're into, it's become a little bit of a box office juggernaut, right? Like it's a profitable franchise, right? The last one that came out in 2021, which was Fast 9, made where are we here? Oh, see, Fast 9. Okay, you can't quite count Fast 9 because Fast 9 was one of those straight to home release.
It was over COVID
in the pandemic, blah blah blah. But Hobbs and Shaw, which was the one that came out just before that, and is like is a spin-off. It's not even the main franchise, but a spin-off. Made $760 million at the box office. $760 million at the box office. So there's money.
They're making their money back. They're not.
Oh yeah, there's money. There's money to be made. Before that was The Fate of the Furious with 1.2 billion. Right. So it's there's money to be had. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, is it a smart thing to do? Financially, yes. Does it come across a little like greedy and just kind of like, you know, you're milking this for all it's worth, huh? Yeah, a little bit, I think.
They'll find this won't be the end. They'll find stories to tell, and once they've milked the race car storylines dry, which apparently they already are kind of, because there's a lot of these vehicles that don't even look like street cars or muscle cars anymore because they're driving tanks and other weird things. They're going to end up driving spaceships, and it'll be like Dom Toretto's grandson
I don't know,
spaceship through the galaxy or something.
Because at the time of recording, Fast 10 has only been out for 10 days, and is already at 512 million. Yeah. So this one is not going to be an exception to the money that they've been making. So, I mean, you know, I get it, but I mean, it's not a franchise I'm super interested in. It's one I have been trying to get Pete to, you know, every time we decide like, okay, what's the next franchise we're going to kind of work through for the podcast, I do always bring up Fast and the Furious just because I know it's got that following, and so it, you know, it makes good business sense to cover it. But Pete's like, I really don't care about it. Like, I just don't want to see them. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's in our future. Maybe it's not. Maybe that'll be the way that you finally see all the Fast and the Furious films. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But until then, do you have any other thoughts on this?
I mean, my gut reaction was, once you get to 10 films, you can't say you're making a trilogy. But I mean, there's Star Wars, and there's 3 trilogies in Star Wars. So.
Yep. So, hard to say.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Listen, a little while back, you and I set out and we made our fan castings for James Gunn's new upcoming DC universe. Sort of a reboot, not a reboot, soft reboot. Who the hell knows what's happening right now? But, and on my list to play Superman, and they kind of felt like the Superman casting, like obviously there were big castings where it's like, wow, who are you going to pick for Batman? Who are you going to pick for Wonder Woman? But the Superman casting felt especially poignant because Superman Legacy is the film that is going to kind of kick off James Gunn's new DC universe. Those are the castings that we are going to get confirmed for us before any others, because it's just that's what's in production. And on my list as Superman, I had Nicholas Hoult, who we explained at the time. You know, he's from Warm Bodies. He played Beast in the like 80s, the James McAvoy X-Men films.
He was in Mad Max.
He was in Mad Max. He was in the new Ralph Fiennes movie, The Menu.
More recently, he was in Renfield.
He was just in Renfield,
which I have seen, and he is amazing in that as well.
Have you seen? It's on my super short list. Yeah, I want to see it.
It's a really good. It's a fun film.
Yeah, and I chose him as Superman. I thought, you know what? He's got the acting chops, I think. He's already, like, there's pictures of him out there where, you know, he's capable of swole. Now, obviously, he'd have to get a lot more swole, but that was true of pretty much any actor that we talked about. We're like, wow, you're going to have to beef up to play Superman no matter who you are. Well, a report has now come out from The Hollywood Reporter, where they've kind of put together, you know, pulling from their sources and what they've heard and what they understand to be kind of going on behind the scenes, they've put together sort of a short list of who James Gunn and Peter Safran are considering for sort of the big roles in the Superman Legacy film. And it has been batted around. Like, Nicholas Holt's name has been sort of circling this project for like a month now. And a lot of people were also speculating that he could be up for Superman. And I was like, okay, sweet, great. I, called it, but whatever. However, it's now kind of been reported, based on their behind the scenes, sources, that there is only currently one person who seems to be, quote unquote, earmarked to play the classic villain Lex Luthor, and that is one Nicholas Holt. So, people go, well, does he have the look of Lex? Shave his head. I don't know. Shave his head and you're there.
Shaved head in Mad Max, and the article you linked me shows a picture of that.
Kind of has that look, and you're like, okay. Like, Mad Max is what, like 10 years ago now, almost. And so, you want your Lex Luthor to, at least I want my Lex Luthor to look a little bit older than he looked in Mad Max, which he now does. I don't know. There's no downside for me on this. Now, I had preferred choices for Lex Luthor over Nicholas Holt, but Lex Luthor is also not one of those characters that I'm going to worry about when they announce the casting for. Like, they could announce just about anyone is going to play Lex Luthor, and I would go, oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. It's not like, Batman. It's not like they come out tomorrow and they're like, oh, Taylor Lautner is Batman. And I'm going to go, oh, come on. Right? Like, those things are going to bug me. The Lex Luthor thing, I'm kind of like, well, give us whoever. If this is in fact true and we have Nicholas Holt, like I've said, Nicholas Holt's got the acting chops. I really enjoy him, and I think he'd be a super fun addition to this. Anyways, you hear this, Carl. You hear that Nicholas Holt may be the number one choice right now to play Lex Luthor. And what are your thoughts?
I think he'd make a good Lex Luthor. Yeah. Having this picture of the Mad Max character he played in front of me reminds me of the kind of the intensity he had in that role. This is like, there's a little bit of that same intensity when it comes to who the Luthor character is in my mind. Like a very almost zealot intensity and vision and passion towards something. The article that you linked, he talks about how he's read for Superman or potentially has read for both parts, Superman and Lex Luthor. So he's could be in contention for both, which is really cool. Yeah.
If you've read for both,
I think he'd be a good fit for definitely for Luthor. I think he'd be an interesting one for Superman, but I don't think he'd be a bad choice
for either. If you had read for both, I have to imagine you'd be pining after the Superman one. Like, you're going to be just as happy to be a part of the film and blah blah blah, and you get to play the iconic villain Lex. But I don't know.
I think it would depend on the personality of the individual. Like, because there are some actors out there who would look at those two roles and probably find playing the human trying to take down the superhuman,
more of an interesting
role to play as an actor
than
a Boy Scout Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
There's definitely more money in the Superman role, though.
Oh, yeah,
right? Like,
for sure.
Lex, you're going to have a lot of projects that Superman shows up in that Lex doesn't. It's just kind of, more
not
job security.
Not to mention the fame and notoriety that will come with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I got no issues with this. I think it'll be interesting for sure if it happens. And we've said many times before that it's never a bad thing to get talent, and so that that's what this would be. Okay, so we just had a little movie that came out, and just punched my microphone. Little movie came out, and I don't know how this happened, but almost nobody's heard of it. It didn't do very well at the box office. It got a measly, pathetic $1.27 billion. And so that's kind of crummy. And there's no merchandising for it. And it didn't do very well on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just like a really unfortunate run for this little indie film. And that film, of course, is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Which has swept the nation and made a ridiculous amount of money for for not only an animated film, but a video game movie, which are notoriously bad. Currently holds 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. And like I said, $1.27 billion.
Comparing it to the last time somebody attempted Super Mario Bros., it is it is like miles and miles better than
for sure.
One in the 90s.
For sure.
Like you can't even hold a candle to it.
So the question kind of became, like, if you've seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie, there's, it's not just like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, right? Like we see all sorts of people. We see the Donkey Kong family shows up. They're there. We don't get.
You see most of the villainish characters, except for kind of Bowser's kids.
Yeah, we don't see Wario or Waluigi.
Yeah.
And we don't get Yoshi until we get a little teaser of Yoshi in a post-credit
We see Yoshi
scene.
Island. We see the Yoshi world and Yoshi's running around.
Yeah.
But we don't see like Mario's Yoshi buddy.
Yeah. So the big question has been, if the Super Mario Bros. Movie does as well as it now has, what is the next project for Nintendo Studios? Because this is like, they've created a studio here, right? And there's all sorts of things. People have batted around the idea of, well, you could do a Donkey Kong movie. Okay, well, yeah, sure, maybe you could do that. There's been, you could do a Dr. Mario movie. You could do a movie. A lot of people.
Wait, stop. Pause. Let's do some speculation and like wish list at the end of this news article. Because there's some things in my mind that are like, I would love to see this Nintendo property.
Okay.
So, but I think that would be fun. I'm just going to interrupt you there because I think that would be a nice
that's fine.
twist.
So you want me to put a pin in this and go to the rest of the story? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Finish the story and then we'll move on. Or we'll do that thing.
Okay. So one of the big titles, though, that a lot of people have been speculating about, and is also in another way a different IP that is sweeping the nation right now because of the release of a new game that everybody's talking about, is Zelda. Now, Zelda's been around for a very long time now, been around since the 80s. And I got lambasted on Facebook. People are losing their shit. I've never played a Zelda game. Screw you. The last Nintendo game console that I actually owned was the Nintendo console, was NES. That was the Nintendo Entertainment System is what I had, right? Never had a Super Nintendo, never had an N64, never had a GameCube. Our house had
there was a Zelda game on the NES, right?
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't have it. I played Super Mario Bros. I played Duck Hunt. I played the Who Framed Roger Rabbit game. And I played like a dungeon. Was it a dungeon crawler? Kind of, sort of. It was a game called Crystallis. Right, and that was the other. And I can still hear the music for it in my head. Right, I had a Game Boy, but I can't remember playing anything on the Game Boy other than Pokemon. Like that was just that was the purpose of a Game Boy. And it was a Game Boy Pocket. It wasn't even like a new, it had one screen, black and white,
Yeah.
Our family had a Wii, but it was mostly for like bowling and Just Dance and whatever else. I don't even know that we had Mario Kart for it. And yeah, whatever's come after the Wii U, Nintendo, and obviously now Switch is the big, and I've been eyeing a Switch, but I also just,
it's a pretty cool system because it's like a full-on console, but it's also like a handheld portable gaming system.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Game Gear from Sega, but so anyways, listen, I've never played Zelda, but I understand that it's all the rage. It's a big deal. I've played Link in Super Smash Bros. I don't know if that counts. I think it counts.
I think you get I don't think you'd even get half points. We'll give you like an eighth of a point.
Eighth of a point, yeah.
Eighth of a credit.
But a lot of people have been speculating Zelda movie. And I've said to you, and I can't remember if it was on the podcast or if it was just personally, I said, the problem with a Zelda movie is that throughout the games, from the limited thing that I know of the games, Link, the character that you play as, the main character, does not speak. He's always been a silent character.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
And I have 95% confidence that if you did a Zelda movie, Link would speak. To have the main character of your movie. Now, maybe there's creative ways. There's been speculation. You put out a couple of ideas like, how you could do this and, always have him just cut off before he goes to speak.
That's what I was thinking. Anytime he's about to speak, somebody interrupts him.
Yeah, and that would be, but I also think that maybe that would get old after an hour and a half, right? Like it would just be like, oh, well, you've kind of worn that gag out like 5 minutes into the movie, but I don't know. And so I think that it would be divisive. People would want a Zelda movie, but it'd be very divisive, and people who don't understand movies or storytelling or whatever would just go like, oh, you shouldn't have him talk, it's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, but like, you got to have your main character has to talk. But now the creators, the studio behind the Zelda games, are saying that they are interested in a Zelda movie. And I mean, I think this was just the natural progression. I don't think many people doubted that this was kind of, whether or not it was the next big title, but after, what was it, Breath of the Wild was the last one from like a couple years back that everyone was nuts about, and now Tears of the Kingdom,
like the direct predecessor to that.
Yeah, and so I don't think anyone's shocked, but yeah, does it get me as excited as the Super Mario Bros. Movie did? No, certainly not. Will I watch it still? I mean, yeah, probably. If it's created with the same humor and craft and whatever else that the Super Mario Bros. Movie was, then absolutely. I think it's just a shame that I won't, as where the Mario movie was packed full of little Easter eggy references that I got, the Zelda movie would be packed full of little Easter egg references that would be lost on me. So, neither here nor there. Carl, have you played Zelda games? How linked?
Oh yeah.
How quote unquote nudge nudge wink wink linked into the story of Zelda are you? And it was good. I didn't even mean it. It was a total accident. And what are your thoughts on Zelda movie? Is it the next logical thing, or what do you think?
I mean, I'm fairly familiar with the Link sort of mythos. I played a number of the games, mostly the earlier ones. I played Link to the Past on a Game Boy, and I've got the original one on my is it the original? I think it's the very first one on my for NES. And I've got the two 64 ones, which I haven't beaten, but I played a bit of. So I'm I'm versed. I wouldn't say I'm like hardcore head over heels into it, but I think it's a really cool universe and that they've built, and it's got some really cool mythology they built into that world.
The narrative structure,
it has the potential to make a really interesting film.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the narrative structure of the first one, or at least the first couple, is very similar to Mario, right? Like, there's a princess, the princess has been taken, you're the hero, you got to go save her.
No, not really.
Okay.
The premise of the games is all about like this. It's essentially they've developed this kind of cycle of reincarnation. So the Link in every game and the Zelda in every game and the he's slipping my mind. The bad guy from every game, bad guy, is they're all the same character, just reincarnations of previous form.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, so someone was sort of explaining it to me the other day. Yeah, someone was sort of explaining it to me the other day, and they were kind of like, you know, that it's similarly the same story each time, but that like it's set, like the time setting is entirely different each time.
Gandalf. And
that it's like that, you know, maybe you're like 500 years forward or you're, you know, whatever. And
or backwards.
It's the same setup and premise, but
the timeline is a little messy from what the things that they've done. But for the most part, Zelda, Link, and the villain Ganondorf are like always reincarnated and always fighting this kind of same battle and fighting for what's called in the games the Triforce. So these three individuals are constantly vying for, and Link and Zelda are obviously kind of on the same side because Ganondorf's always trying to conquer the world. But the Triforces are three individual pieces of something that give power, and when you have all three of them and you combine them, it gives you like ultimate power, kind of like Infinity Stones almost. And so Ganondorf's always trying to get them, and Zelda and Link are always trying to stop them. And it's kind of like this kind of synergy where these three individuals are always reincarnated to find and battle over these three pieces of powerful relics that create a Triforce. And so that's kind of like a general synopsis of the broader scope of all of the games. And then each individual game is you're playing as one of the reincarnations of Link to stop Ganondorf.
Yeah.
I don't know if the most recent two are like that, but it'd be hard for me to imagine they wouldn't kind of follow that pattern. But then all of them have different mechanics and stuff like that because, you know, it's a video game. That's what they do. They reinvent new stuff for each game. But they're all, for the most part, they're all really interesting kind of dungeon divey role-playing-ish kind of games, hack and slash. Yeah. But like that whole idea, just kind of that original narrative, the big synopsis is kind of like, that's a really cool idea for a film.
Yeah.
And if they kind of do it justice and honor the source material the way that the Mario movie did. And like when we were talking about the Mario movie when it was still kind of in production before it was released, we were kind of like, man, like Chris Pratt as Mario. But like I watched it 2 weeks ago and it was good. Like, oh man, Chris Pratt really did a good job. And like there were a few things where I was like, that's a little on the nose, but it was like kind of on the nose and not necessarily a horrible way. Kind of like the whole plot line of the movie is, spoiler, if you haven't seen it yet, Bowser's in love with Princess Peach and wants to marry her, which isn't part of any of the storylines of the games. But it's essentially a meme. It's been a meme for a long time that Bowser likes Peach, right? But it wasn't canon. It wasn't official. So they took this meme and they made it official. And so it's like, that's very on the nose, very kind of like, okay, I guess. But it worked and it was fun. I think if they do it the same way they did Mario, it would be a great film.
The one thing
Link's got to talk. And Link doesn't have speaking roles in the games, but he does kind of grunt and make noises, and so you kind of have an idea of what he might sound like, kind of, I guess. But yeah.
The one thing I will say about the Mario movie is they played it safe and it paid off. As far as it wasn't the most in-depth story. Like narratively, it was a pretty like generic, there wasn't a lot of depth to the story. Which was fine, and it still worked, and it was still entertaining, and it also seemed like there were fewer things in there there were fewer not adult themes, but like, I kind of expected the Mario movie to capture some of that like Shrek magic. Where there's the jokes in there that only the adults are getting, and they really didn't do that. It was really more a kid film with visual references that adults would get from their childhood and
very nostalgic, like those not very nice member berries, not obnoxious ones.
Yeah, so I think for something like Zelda, they would have to up their writing game. They would have to,
and not hire Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen was my only real beef.
Oh my god! And I'm just not a Seth Rogen fan in general. He didn't
even try. I read an article that said when they asked him to play Donkey Kong, he said, "Sure, but I'm not doing a voice." And at that point, I'm like, "You're not even going to try? Why? Yeah. Why are you hiring this guy?"
Yeah.
And then like all the red carpet stuff. If you're listening to this and you have a computer in front of you, Google like Mario movie red carpet images, and the entire cast kind of in some way or another dressed up to kind of look like their character. Like Jack Black has got like a shell that looks like Bowser's on the back of his tux, right? So they all kind of dressed up a little bit, right? But still kind of looked red carpety. And Seth Rogen didn't do anything. It's like, are you kidding? Like, why just put a DK tie on? What is your problem? You're too cool for school? Like, get out of here. Oh, just bothered me so much.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Moving on. So there's a situation that we have talked about a little bit in the past, and I haven't wanted to like beat it over the head. So, there's been lots of little developments and furtherings that have sort of come out over the weeks, and we just chose not to talk about them because it was just, it was kind of a lot of the same and just speculation, and there wasn't really anything I felt was newsworthy to talk about. But that situation is the Jonathan Majors situation. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Majors, of course, was cast as Kang in the MCU. We first saw him show up towards the end of the first season of Loki, and then he reprised his role in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. A film, sorry, punching my mic. A film,
a lot today.
Yeah, a film that you and I both disliked. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was hot trash, but Jonathan Majors was good in it.
Yes,
right. He's a fantastic actor. Well, it wasn't long after that Jonathan Majors was in the news for accusations of assault against was a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend or it doesn't matter. A woman. Some lady. And it was kind of presented at that, Jonathan Major's lawyers kind of came out and said, we have video evidence that is just going to make this whole thing go away, and it's not even, it's not even going to be a thing.
Video evidence that he was the victim.
And so on and so forth. And so then naturally the big question for us became, well, if this is true, if it doesn't go away, what happens to Kang? Because it's not like we're sitting here and saying, it was the actor that played, what is that actor's name? The actor that plays Abomination. Either way, the actor that plays Abomination, and they go, well, what are we going to do with Abomination now? Well, then you just don't have Abomination just doesn't show up again. That wouldn't be a hard thing to do. You just, you don't use him again. Okay, fine. Kang's a little bit different because Kang has been set up as the future of the MCU. That's how he's been presented to us, is that, we have an Avengers film coming up called Kang Dynasty. We have that post-credit scene, one post-credit scene at the end of Quantumania that just kind of shows, there's a lot of Kangs, a lot of Jonathan Majors, and Kang's the only being within the multiverse that is in commune with all the other versions of himself, right? That's the exception there. And then there was also a post-credit scene, which was a setup for Loki season 2, and Jonathan Majors is featured heavily in that. And I read an article the other day, and I think it's completely on point, that never in the history of the MCU has Marvel hung their hat on one actor in such a way that so much of their franchise is now dependent on that one actor. In the way that they have with Jonathan Majors. And so our question was, well, what happens? Not just what happens to Kang, but what happens to the MCU? If this whole thing goes the Ezra Miller route, what happens with the MCU? Now, Flash was a little bit different because all of those things that happened with Ezra Miller happened after the majority, if not all, of the Flash had been shot. Well, they haven't shot Kang. Nobody showed up on set yet for Kang Dynasty. Right? These are still future projects. Well, Jonathan Majors, to give you a little bit of an update, has now had his first virtual court appearance, and the charges are proceeding. This has not gone away, the way that Jonathan Majors' lawyers sort of very confidently said that they were going to. And now we're all sitting here still kind of wondering the same question, but a couple of interesting things have started to happen. The first being that we have gotten now our official press release for when Loki Season 2 is premiering on Disney+. Okay? Which is October 6th. October 6th, Season 2 is coming out. And this press release lists the cast members. It says Hiddleston, obviously Tom Hiddleston plays Loki, is joined by the cast Owen Wilson, Gugu Mbatha Raw. I've totally butchered that. I apologize. Sophia DiMartino.
Try it again.
Wumi Mosaka and Richard E. Grant. Who's not mentioned in this is Jonathan Majors.
Oh, he's not important.
It seems a little odd for Jonathan Majors having been, even in that post-credit scene teeing up Loki Season 2, it's like Jonathan Majors is going to be the big antagonist here. He's going to be the issue. Another interesting thing that has now happened is there was a shareholders, get together, show the good people what we've got coming from Disney thing that happened. And to those people who were in attendance, they showed they showed footage of the upcoming season. They debuted a new trailer for the upcoming season. They did all this stuff. Like here's a bunch of media about Loki season 2. In those clips and in that trailer and in all of the promotional material that they had, there wasn't a trace of Kang or Jonathan Majors. Now, there was also speculations a little while back, not speculations, a little while back, Loki season 2 did a bunch of reshoots. And as the tinfoil hat people on the internet tend to do, us included, that's what, like anyone who thinks that fans of comic book or sci-fi or whatever have you properties, anyone who thinks that fans don't all have a tinfoil hat somewhere in their closet, you're sorely mistaken. We all do.
I got mine on now. It's got horns.
Yeah. Loki horns?
No, they're more like bull horns.
Oh, okay. They all started to speculate these reshoots, they must be reshooting to remove Jonathan Majors from probably not all, but a bunch of this season, like kind of shoot him out of it so that, we can just kind of wait and see like what happens with all of this. So it's hard to say what's going on. It's possible that there's a logical explanation for all of this, that it's that, he's the big baddie and we're just keeping him a little bit under wraps and we don't want to reveal any of the storyline or Kang's motivations in this or what he's doing or what's happening or all of this stuff and blah, 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 blah. Totally possible. It is also, though, worth questioning, is this a case of Marvel getting some cold feet towards Jonathan Majors and realizing, hey, this Jonathan Majors case could take months or years to get sorted out. And if it doesn't get sorted out in a way that's in favor for Jonathan Majors, just, won't be good business to put him in our stuff. But B, he may not actually be available. So I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are on this. I don't necessarily think that those reshoots were to remove Jonathan Major from parts of the show. But I do think that Marvel's maybe being a little bit cautious right now in how much marketing has Jonathan Major's face on it. Because it's kind of a weird situation that they find themselves in. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, prisoners need jobs too. And with green screen technology, you could easily put them in any movie.
Uh-huh.
No, seriously though. I don't like it's, man, I always hate the idea of this kind of somebody gets accused of something, cancel him, write him out of everything. Because, I mean, the justice system that we have in North America is you're innocent until you're proven that you're guilty.
Exactly.
And this cancellation stuff is it's like pitchforks and torches, mob mentality, like putting the cart before the horse here. That's not how this works. That being said, that last kind of comment you made about like business wise, if we back this horse and this horse goes to jail, it doesn't look so good for our financial backers, for those that give us the money
and box office returns.
As a business decision,
we are talking billions of dollars.
Yeah,
billions
as a business
of dollars.
decision to kind of start writing somebody out of your future plans that may or may not be available or have win or lose their legal battle. it kind of makes business sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily think it's right, but yeah, I mean, they got to look after their bottom dollar at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm a little torn on it. Like the more recent kind of celebrities that have kind of gone through this legal issues that we've kind of seen very prominently in the limelight with their legal battles was the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp stuff. And Johnny Depp was like, he was canned. He was canceled.
Yeah.
From a lot of stuff because of allegations. And a UK court did find that he was guilty, but then a US court has now found him innocent. And so it's like, okay, they're both messed up people. Yeah. Either hire them or don't. And if you've hired them, don't fire them. Like, they're both screwed up. Like, you're dealing with baby adults here. That's essentially what we're dealing with. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a hard one. I don't agree with the canceling stuff, but at the same time, I have a bit of a mind about business. I went to school for 2 years for business, and it makes sense business wise. Yeah. Like,
it's also,
you gotta protect your property, your IP. So you do that with prejudice, right? Like, cause if all of a sudden your property starts looking ugly because you've hired a now convicted criminal for something that's pretty heinous, then that doesn't look good on you.
To lead the biggest franchise in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. That being said, you didn't know that when you hired him. So again, that's kind of mob mentality. Like, they didn't know that. Why are you hating on them? That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's just the way
Anyway,
but like, another interesting way to look at it too is like, these celebrities at the end of the day are, they're whether they're like baby adults or whatever it was that you called them, they're people.
Yeah,
they're just people. And so
they're messed up people. Some of them do fare better than others.
Well, but I mean, even like non like really messed up people, like, if right now, if you were the owner of some big corporation that's, made millions of billions of dollars, whatever it is, right? And you were looking at Carl. Let's say you're not Carl, right? But you're this other person. You're running this big business, and you're looking at Carl to be the face of your business. Moving forward, Carl's the guy, right? Everyone in the world is going to know your name. And a week before you pull the plug, or a week after you pull the plug, or whatever it is on this, or pull the trigger, I guess, not pull the plug, pull the trigger to make this happen. Your real life experiences, Carl's actual life, all the ugliest parts of Carl's life are now plastered all over the media, and the entire world is aware of the ugliest parts of your life. Would you want Carl being the face of your company? Like, it's just a non-messed up. And I'm not picking on you. The same goes for anyone. Right?
Well, I mean, my life's pretty boring by comparison to.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't be that. I'm pretty sure the dirtiest parts of my life wouldn't be that big for top.
No, but I mean, like, even if they looked at it and they were like, okay, let's take all the worst moments of the last 10 years and just plaster them around. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for any of us, right? It's hard to say. Anyways, moving on. And I am glad that you said that you're wearing your tinfoil hat, because you're going to need it. This is one of those tinfoil hat moments. Right now, we are very excited, looking forward to a little film called Deadpool 3. I think we were always looking forward to it, but the amount of looking forward to it, the moment that Hugh Jackman was announced that he was returning as Wolverine, it just became like there was no scale big enough for our anticipation.
Which reminder for the audience is still filming in spite of a writer's strike, but also means that Ryan Reynolds, who's known for his improvisational lines in these films, cannot improv.
Yeah, he's not allowed to do any improvising, which is like, it's so nuts. And it's not just like, okay, well, then let's write it into the script and then you do it and it's not improvising. No, you can't do any rewrites.
Yeah.
You have to shoot whatever's been written.
Would be a lot.
Yeah. So that's happening. Wolverine, there he is. Hugh Jackman. And we talked about, well, it kind of seemed like there's a very good chance that Patrick Stewart might show up as Charles Xavier. Okay. We all got kind of tinfoil hatty there. And, blah, blah, blah. And then there was a sort of another discussion, that little sort of line that was thrown out there by Patrick Stewart that maybe made it seem like it wasn't totally impossible that Ian McKellen as Magneto might show up. And we all got like, oh, bring it on. Like, let's get the band back together. Let's do it. Well, and none of that requires a tinfoil hat. That's all. I mean, the Xavier stuff a little bit, you got to speculate. But the whole, Deadpool's happening. Hugh Jackman's back. The other thing you don't need a tinfoil hat for is they have now just begun shooting. It is shooting. Deadpool 3 is tangible. It's happening right now. Tinfoil hat time.
Like right now? They're
currently shooting? Probably. There's a very good chance. It's a very good chance that Ryan Reynolds is on set as we speak. Yes. Tinfoil hat time. In a world where it seems like they're bringing back multiple people from the Fox X-Men films, the Bryan Singer X-Men universe, one would not be crazy to start looking at some of the other characters that were in those films and just wondering, speculating, could this person show up? Or would that overcrowd it? Or is it like just, is it just enough that we're already getting one person back? Like, But you wouldn't be crazy to look at that and kind of wonder. Well, one of the characters that was a big part of those films was Halle Berry's Storm. And did a fantastic job. One of my favorite lines in comic book films ever belongs to her. Do you know what happens to a toad when he's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. And then like the lightning starts forming and all this. Oh, so good. But listen, Halle Berry, 4 days ago, posted a picture on her Instagram. Just her standing in a garden, wearing some weekend clothes. Looks like she might be doing some art, some painting. Who knows? Holding a cat, and the caption says, "Patience takes practice." Yeah, it, pretty innocuous enough. It's just kind of a whatever. But fans are losing their shit because in this image, Halle Berry's hair is kind of cut short, a little bit of an undercut, a little spiky, a little punky looking, a little edgy, which is not her normal look. She also has her natural hair color, the sort of dark black brown color underneath, but the tops have all been bleached white. Essentially, she's hanging out in her garden, just, going about her life, but she's rocking the hairstyle and color that is very, very similar, if not exactly the look that she sported as Storm in the X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally, that would just, normally you'd probably just look at that and go, well, she likes the way it looks. I don't know, people change their hair. But the fact that Deadpool just started shooting, and we know we're getting these other X-Men back. God, the tinfoil hatness right now, I have to admit, even I've got my tinfoil hat on. If you had asked me before seeing this image, do you think Halle Berry's going to come back as Storm? I would have said, I'll give it 15%. A 15% chance that she's coming back, which is pretty low. I wouldn't have ruled it out. I wouldn't have said it's impossible, but I certainly would not have put any money on it. Now that I've seen the image, and this is, again, I've got my tinfoil hat on, I've gone from 15%, I would say probably up to about 70%. I will now actually be a little surprised if she doesn't show up. I'm now anticipating her showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I've sent you the image. Sorry about the fact that she's holding a cat. I know you don't like cats. You've seen this image, and what are your thoughts? Is this just a bizarre, total who gives a crap coincidence? And she just happens to like the hair color, and she's not involved in Deadpool 3 at all? Or is this kind of a sneaky, like, was someone kind of annoyed when she made this post over at the studio going, ooh, that may have been a little too much, or like whatever. Is this confirmation for us fans that Halle Berry is coming back as Storm in Deadpool 3?
I tell you what, if that hair gets spiked up and she plays like the Mohawk Storm, I'm in.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Like the best version of Storm. Give it to us. Yeah.
And it kind of looks like it could, because like I said, it's that undercut look.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so it could just not be a spiked mohawk.
However, alternate theory here for you. Put a tinfoil hat on your tinfoil hat here, Brady. The DC universe is looking for castings. And she's
there's no
holding
way.
a cat.
No, there's no way. There's no way. Do you know what makes that theory? Okay, but listen. Do you know what makes that theory that much more frighteningly possible?
The Catwoman one?
Yeah.
What's that?
That in the 2004 Catwoman film, which will go down in history, I believe, as the worst film ever made. Like, it's just...
It's bad.
It's awful. Her character's name in that film is not Selena Kyle. It's Patience Phillips. And the caption on this Instagram photo is Patience takes practice.
My tinfoil on tinfoil hat theory just went through the roof.
So, I mean, I still don't think that's what's happening, but
oh,
that's
man.
That is a hell of a coincidence. If not.
So this is either a Storm leak or a Catwoman leak. You heard it here first, folks.
Yes, exactly. That's... Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. Okay, moving on.
Wait, one more thing. If she does play Storm, does that mean your favorite actor in the world, James Marsden's going to come back to play Cyclops?
I hope not. No, because I mean, he's not really closely tied to Storm, right? Now, if Femke Janssen comes back and plays Jean Grey, resurrecting that character from the dead for the 37th time, then yes, I think you have to have Scott there. And I just hate him. I hate him so much. All right, moving on before I throw up. We've been talking a bunch about Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's kind of made a little bit of a Murphy resurgence in Hollywood. He was in the Coming to America. What was the other film he just did? And it was like not super great, but it was like a similar. Anyways, and he's out touring. He's doing stand-up comedy again. Doing all this stuff. And there's been speculation. People have been talking about, could we get another Beverly Hills Cop movie starring Eddie Murphy? That'd be maybe kind of interesting. There was all this talk a little while back about Shrek, right? About he was saying about how he would want a Eddie or a donkey spinoff, right? When they were talking about the new Puss in Boots movie, he kind of wanted a donkey spinoff. A little while after that, we reported that there was actually a Shrek 5. Is that what it would be? In the works, and that original cast was turning. We're assuming that means Eddie Murphy as well. So it's a resurgence for sure for Eddie Murphy. He's back on the scene. Well, a report has come out from Variety that Eddie Murphy may be in talks to casting his skills onto a new version of what I would say is a pretty iconic character in one Jacques Clouseau. Mm-hmm. Meaning that Eddie Murphy is in talks to star in a Pink Panther reboot. Now, I was thinking about when I first heard this, I was new. I was on the fence. I don't think I swung either way. I wasn't like, oh yeah, no, I don't need that. And I wasn't like, ooh, this sounds amazing. Let's get it. Just friggin' do it. The more I've thought about this, I think the more I've warmed up to it. I've swayed in the direction of I think this is an okay idea. Now, some people are out there are going to be like, well, you don't need to do something original, Hollywood, blah, 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 right? Okay, well, listen. There are exceptions, right? There are those franchises that exist out there that they are always going to remake or do another version of because it's just kind of entered that, you know what, this should always be around in one shape or another, right? A Christmas Carol is an example. There's always going to be Christmas Carol remakes. James Bond, they're always going to keep recasting and doing it, stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. And the more I started to think about it, I think I've landed on, you know what, the Pink Panther might be one of those franchises. It might be one of those franchises that, you know what, it's a fun, not even a story, it's a fun universe. It's a fun character that you can keep plopping into these other ridiculous situations, and if you have a funny lead man who's attached to it, then it's worth doing. It's worth giving a new. There have been 11 Pink Panther films already.
Going all the way back to the 60s.
Going all the way back.
60s.
So there's 9 in sort of the original run. The majority of those, I think of the 9, 6 or 7 of them, of course, star Peter Sellers as Jacques Clouseau. There's one where Roger Moore played Inspector Clouseau, and there's one where Alan Arkin actually plays Inspector Clouseau.
Yeah.
But for the most part, obviously, it was Peter Sellers in the early 2000s.
Like I'm looking online here. It looks like the third one, they stepped away from Sellers to Arkin.
Yeah.
The fourth one went. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Third one, and the fourth one went back to Sellers.
Back to Sellers for a couple of them. He did a couple in a row. Him and David
the eighth
Niven
one went to David.
Yeah.
And then the ninth one was somebody else, and then it became Steve Martin for 2.
So in the 2000s. In the 2000s, we had 2 films, Pink Panther and Pink Panther 2, or Pink Panther Return, like whatever they called it.
Pink Panther and Pink Panther 2, but it looks like there is a
subtitle.
A subtitle to it.
Yeah. Starring Steve Martin. And you know what? The first Steve Martin one, I didn't mind. I thought it was, it was fun. You had Jean Reno in there, who is like the French guy that shows up in absolutely everything, and he was like, he was good in it, right? Like I don't know what to tell you. I enjoyed the first Steve Martin Pink Panther. I think the second one was kind of a crummy sequel. It's just kind of, it got panned at the box office, and the critics didn't like it, and so on and so forth. But the last Pink Panther film came out 13 years ago. It's been 13 years. So when I take those two things and I couple them together, I go, you know what? 13 years since the Pink Panther movie. If they're only in talks now about getting this thing off the ground, it's at least a couple of years out before it would hit the screens. Let's say 3 years out. So we're looking at 16 years between Pink Panther movies. And it will be the 12th Pink Panther movie that's been made. I don't know. When you take both of those things, the 12th kind of adding to my theory that, this is just kind of one of those franchises that we're going to keep doing and redoing. And the fact that, you know what, it will have been like 15, 16, 17 years since the last time we saw it. I'm kind of like, well, if you are going to do it, now might be the time. I think it makes sense. Also, Eddie Murphy, I mean, absolutely. In my opinion, and I'll get your thoughts on this as well, but, for the character that Inspector Clouseau is, sort of the ridiculous, over-the-top, kind of happy-go-lucky idiot that stumbles into the right answer every time, even though he doesn't deserve to get the right answer because he's just not talented enough.
That's a perfect explanation.
he kind of Jar Jar Binks is his way into things.
Yeah.
I can see Eddie Murphy pulling this off perfectly. Anyways, Carl, what are your thoughts on both? Is it time to do another Pink Panther? Should the Pink Panther die out? Is it done? Is it over? Do we keep going? Oh, and if we do keep going, is Eddie Murphy someone that you can see heading this thing up?
Yeah. So Pink Panther, definitely one of those film franchises that being rebooted over and over again shouldn't shock people and shouldn't be an issue, because it just kind of, it's got the bones, the bare bones of kind of how you describe Inspector Clouseau, right? And how he solves cases. It just has the makings for a great film as kind of the bare bones. And then you kind of flesh it out from there in a kind of modern setting. And man, it's just, it's
sort of like Johnny English, the Rowan Atkinson Johnny English spy movies. It's the same shtick.
So like how you can't go wrong with it, and rebooting it shouldn't be a problem because it's already been done to a lot. And I vaguely remember watching one or two of the ones from the early 90s or late 80s. And like, I always remember having a kick out of them. It's a good, fun, like belly laugh film, no matter who's in it. Right. So you can't go wrong. In terms of Eddie Murphy being Clouseau, I mean, how you can't. Eddie Murphy's had some flops, especially the ones where he plays the large family.
The Nutty Professor?
No, not the Nutty. Was that the Nutty Professor?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're all heavy in the Nutty Professor.
Oh, no, I think I'm thinking of something else. Maybe, I don't know. He's had some that haven't hit as well as others, but
Norbit,
for the most part,
is awful.
The guy is he knows comedy. Like he cut his chops doing stand up, and he killed it. And stand up comedians still look at his early stuff, and think, man, this guy is just. He's one of the GOATs. Like he's one of the greatest of all time when it comes to stand-up comedy.
He was great on SNL.
He's great on SNL. He had a great, and still does have a great movie library. Some are way better than others. But man, like, yeah, he could fill that role so perfectly, especially if you let him kind of do his thing and kind of help rewrite some of the jokes and script some of the jokes so that they just land that much better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it is such a good idea. And it's time. Yeah. And I'm surprised. If you'd asked me a month ago, are you excited for a new Pink Panther reboot? I go, yeah, I mean, probably not. Cause as much as I think this is something that, you could keep doing, I don't know, modern day comedies are it's so rare that you find something that's actually funny. But then you tell me Eddie Murphy could be Inspector Clouseau, and I go, oh, hang on a second. You might have something here. Not just because it's Eddie Murphy, but just because I think Eddie Murphy's comedy sensibilities could fit so well into this role. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this happens. I kind of hope it does. All right, moving on. As previously mentioned, you and I can't remember the last time I had such a disappointing time in the theater as with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I was less disappointed with The Last Jedi. I was less disappointed. Thor: The Dark World, I think, is a better film. I do. I don't know the last time I went to the theater and walked out and went, that was just not great. Maybe The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger was pretty bad. The Armie Hammer Johnny Depp one. It was just long and boring. I don't know. But it was bad. And one of the things that we talked about one of the things I brought up in our review of that was, so Jeff Loveness is the gentleman who wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And it was interesting because we looked at it and we're like, well, okay, so because so much of the problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came down to writing. It was just a garbage script.
It's horrible.
So we started looking at it. We're like,
and
well,
some
what
bad
is he?
CG decisions.
Yeah, and some really bad CG decisions. But we're like, okay, so what has he written prior to this? And it was, 6 episodes of Rick and Morty, some episodes of a show called Miracle Workers. He wrote a short film called Stock. A couple more shorts, and that's it. The first, here's a Hollywood film, write it, was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Then I started to get a little worried, and I brought up this saying, hey, Jeff Loveness has his name attached to one more upcoming film as a writer in Hollywood. And that's Avengers: Kang Dynasty. And I don't know, first of all, how you would take a director or a writer who has never really written a movie before and give him Avengers: Kang Dynasty, the next Avengers film, the first Avengers film since Endgame. But I also don't know how you would keep him on after his trial run, his job interview with you was him turning out Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And we sort of speculated saying, they gotta dump him. They have to. It sucks. And you know what? Maybe he'll go on to be a great writer. Maybe he'll kind of cut his teeth on some more projects and evolve and get a little bit better, and he'll go on to write amazing films. But Avengers: Kang Dynasty can't be part of that process for him. And so we just kind of sat and waited and hoped and kind of waited to see what was going to come of that. Well, it appears that Jeff Loveness has been removed as a writer from Avengers Kang Dynasty. This comes to us from comingsoon.net, and they were chatting with industry insider Jeff Snyder, who we've quoted several times. Jeff Snyder is kind of the dude that scoops a lot of these things. He says not only is Loveness no longer attached to this project, but he was also pretty sure, his source was telling him that Jeff was off of Avengers Kang Dynasty before the strike even happened. So this is not as a result of the writing strike. This is not like, because it's coincidental timing. Some people could go, well, I wonder if the strike affected this, blah, blah, blah. Nope. No, this has got to be purely as a result of Avengers or of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This, you know what? I mean, it sucks. It sucks for Jeff.
Well, I mean, if something does good, you should be promoting and continuing to hire the people that made it do good. If something does bad, you should stop working with those people. And I don't know. It feels like most of this I guess we kind of went through it. Some of it's been good, some of it's bad. But when it comes to the bad stuff, like in terms of script writing and whatever decisions are being made, like MCU needs to definitely dump some people looking at this last phase instead of continuing on like nothing's happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like Kevin Feige has been known for going out and getting directors who are unheard of, who are nobodies. Yeah. And he said, smaller, because like because those are the people that if you look at their resume, they know how. They're like, if you can tell a story, on a $5 million budget, you can tell a good story on a $150 million budget. It's just it's storytelling. And I think a good example in the same world here at MCU is like Taika Waititi. Like, who the hell was he before Thor Ragnarok? Yeah, like he'd done a cut, like where the wild people are, and so he'd done some stuff that had like a sort of a cult following.
Not big stuff. Like,
no, people didn't really know him.
Yeah, he became a Hollywood somebody after Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Now, and like I said, he did good stuff. Keep him on. Give him a little more. When you do well with little, you should be rewarded with more. Taika Waititi, I think, is a good example of also kind of a mentality that just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at everything. And Thor: Love and Thunder, I think, is a good example of that. Because he was more involved in the script writing of that and given more freedom to make that film the way he wanted. And I think it suffered because of that.
Was he? Is that that's confirmed?
I'm fairly confident that he had more creative freedom than he did prior. I think he was even part of the writing process.
Right. Okay. Well, either way, I mean, everybody has a bad day at the office, but when it's a bad day at the office and we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, it's a harder thing to just go, well, it's, we'll move on from it. It's fine. It's, another great example is the Russo brothers, right? Prior to directing The Winter Soldier, the biggest film that they had in their repertoire was You, Me, and Dupree, which is it's a great film. It'll make you cry every time you watch it, but it's not like a huge film. Yeah. And that was it. And that was really kind of all that was there. And then they went from Winter Soldier to doing Civil War to doing Infinity War and doing Endgame. Right? So it's kind of one of those, and it's one of those, again, just because you're great at everything doesn't mean that, that everything's going to be amazing, because then they did the movie Cherry after Endgame. They did the movie with Cherry with Tom Holland, and it's not, it was pretty bad. Yeah. So
everybody's got a day at the office, or everybody's not good at everything. It shouldn't be.
So Jeff Loveness appears to be gone. Like I said, shitty for him. But I think this is a good thing for the fans. And I'm not saying bar Jeff Loveness from the MCU.
No,
let him go off and write some other things.
Said earlier, he just needs to cut his chops a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Jeff Loveness will be the guy that goes down that was like introduced Beta Ray Bill to the MCU in the greatest possible way ever. But there's a little bit of a roadmap, I think, before he gets there. So moving on. Talking about franchises that just have legs and you just keep making them and redoing them and trying them again. A couple of weeks ago, you and I talked about a franchise that seemed to sort of be that up until this point, but we had both kind of agreed that, like, maybe this one's dead for a while. Maybe you just leave this one alone and cut your losses and like leave it alone. Just stop. And that was Terminator. That was the Terminator franchise. It's passed hands a couple of times. It's passed continuities a couple of times. I liked the most recent one, Dark Fate, but I was not a fan of Genesis, like, at all. I'm not a fan of Terminator Salvation. The Christian Bale one, the one that's like all set in the future. I'm like,
I thought that one was all right. It wasn't amazing, but
for me, it was just like
anything that came after.
It was missing the gimmick for me, and the gimmick is futuristic robots in a modern age, right? So like that wasn't there, and so for me, it was just like, this is not the story I needed. I don't need that story answered. Right? I don't need to know about the Force. It was just kind of one of those, you're answering a question I haven't asked. So anyways, we both kind of said, you know what? This is done. The franchise hasn't truly been amazing since it was James Cameron that was writing Terminator and directing it and had his hands heavily on it. Which the last time that really happened was T2. Right? He's been a producer and an executive producer on more recent ones, like he was on Dark Fate, and I think that helped.
He was a writer for Genesis.
He was a writer for Genesis, but not the sole. Well, I think he might have just been credited. I think he's always credited as a writer because he created the characters.
So if IMDb does this the way most traditional kind of credits would be given, there are 3 writers credited on IMDb, and James Cameron is third. And in my mind, traditionally, when credits are given, the person with the most credit to be given goes first, and lessers come after. James Cameron being third, what you're saying may be accurate. He was just kind of like brought in to thumbs up it or something.
Well, or like I said, so like if you look at, because I was just looking at the IMDb page for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and although Jeff Loveness is a writer, there's also another person listed as a writer, and that's Stan Lee. And the only reason this film was written after Stan Lee died, right? The only reason Stan Lee's name is there is because he created the characters, and so you have to. Right? Like right now, I'm curious.
I don't think that makes sense because James Cameron isn't credited on IMDb for like Dark Fate.
Well, then that could just be a bad listing on IMDb. That could, because anyone can go on and change IMDb, right? Like, okay, right now, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I guarantee you that was written solely by Rian Johnson, and that the only reason I'm looking at George Lucas's name is because he created the universe. They're his characters. And so you have to you give credit. But so anyways, neither here nor there. What is here and there is that James Cameron is writing a new Terminator film. And has shifted in proper. This is the thing. Listen, I'll tell you what gives me hope is that James Cameron has shifted his perspective on this. He doesn't want to just rehash the same old crap. What he's saying is that this Terminator film would be more about the AI side of things, more about the artificial intelligence and the whole Skynet and Cyberdyne and stuff like that aspect of it. He says, if I were to do another Terminator film and maybe try to launch that franchise again, which is in discussion, but nothing has been decided, I would make it much more about the AI side of it than bad robots gone crazy. Cameron revealed back in December 2022. Now, it has now been confirmed, like I said, James Cameron was at the Dell Technologies World seminar. He was up on stage as a speaker, and he told the crowd that he has started writing Terminator. He has started writing a new Terminator movie 3 months ago, but wants to wait and see how AI shakes out before he goes any further, which basically I think just means that's not like, well, if AI becomes crazy, I'm not going to make this movie. I think that's just him saying, I want to, as James Cameron does, I want to become an expert on AI so that the movie I make is, is super accurate and relevant and touches on those interesting things that seem to actually be happening in the real world. Like I said, a month ago, I was like, no, this is done. This is done. I don't want Terminator. Leave it alone. Right? The continuity's a mess. The whole thing's a problem. It's done. Just drop it.
Yeah.
Finding out that James Cameron, for 3 months now, has been writing a new Terminator film and that it's going to focus on the artificial intelligence sides of things. I'd be lying if I said I'm not pretty interested and am anticipating what this could turn into. Carl, you hear these things. I know you're a Terminator fan, not only because it's Arnold, but because it also falls into that like great 80s science fiction action genre. Like it's just the Terminator films just match your likes and interests to a T. So as a franchise that's near and dear to you, starring an actor who's near and dear to you, now, obviously, we don't know that Arnold could possibly, you just have to speculate. You would just have to speculate on whether or not Arnold would show up. I would kind of sort of think maybe he wouldn't, because it sounds like the story that James Cameron's planning on telling, it would feel forced. He'd feel shoehorned in there. But you hear all this, and what are your thoughts of the idea that James Cameron could be truly back at the helm of a Terminator film?
Man. Yeah, because when we talked, I was on the same boat. Like, we were on the same boat. We were both saying, franchise dead. Let it die. Give it time to breathe and be kind of forgotten, and then maybe reboot it in the distant, long future when I'm dead. James Cameron being the one writing the script. Oh man, that changes things a little, for sure. Maybe more than a little. Right? Like, we've talked about before how pretty much everything James Cameron makes is Hollywood gold. Like, he is the what's the fairy tale guy that spins straw into gold?
No, you're okay. You're mixing up two of them. There's the Rumpelstiltskin story. But I would say that James Cameron is more like King Midas. Just everything he touches.
Yeah, I'll give you that one too. Yeah, that one would work well. But I mean, in this case, he's turning something that's garbage turned into garbage back into gold, sure. or potentially would.
Sure,
right? Like, yeah, I guess you could do that through a touch too. If you're King Midas, turn your poop into gold. The Terminator franchise was a delicious pie that was created by by him.
It's now been digested.
It was consumed by us, and we pooped it out, and then we got the last couple poopy Terminator films, and he will come along and touch it and turn it into gold.
Man, you've just sent this whole thing straight to the gutter.
All right. I mean, it brings hope to the situation, I'll say. The Arnold thing, Arnold being, if like you said, there's no word of whether Arnold to be involved. As much as Arnold is, I have you been watching Fubar? Fubar hit Netflix.
Not yet. I want to. Yeah.
I've been watching it. It's fun. It's good. Arnold's a great actor. People do not give him enough credit. He does the action scenes with him. He's definitely not the action hero he used to be, right?
Well, I just think he's too old for it to make sense.
So hang on, I'm getting there. Like, and just for Fubar here right now, I'm talking. Like, he plays a trying to retire CIA agent in the show, right? And so his character isn't fast, but he's kind of he just, he's been in the game so long, he just knows where to be and where not to be and what to do in every situation, just because he's lived it all, right? But so he's not where in the film there's another character who's like the young gun, and she is just can do everything that he can do, but because she's young, she's doing jumps and flips and whatever, but she just doesn't have the same experience, so she kind of leans on him a little bit when necessary. So anyway, Arnold can still do action scenes, I think, that are written in a way that fit his current age, right? The problem with making him a Terminator again is he's old. And the last was the Genesis wasn't too bad because he still kind of looked young enough, right? Like he wasn't graying as much, and even if he was, they put color in his hair to bring it back down to help him look younger, and it still kind of worked, but he still looked old. He still kind of looked a lot older than his younger self from the first three. Yeah. The fourth, or I guess it's technically the sixth one in the franchise, Dark Fate, the most recent one.
Well, it's technically the third one.
How does that make any sense that it's living tissue over top of a robot?
So the tissue's aged?
Tissue ages as fast as normal human beings, or does it? Or I don't.
And I mean, he doesn't have a metabolism. That's what makes you. So
I don't.
Which technically Dark Fate is only the third one in the franchise, because it was released as a direct. No, it was released as a direct follow-up to T2. It was an ignoring the rest of the story and just making that one was how James Cameron worded it.
It just, because you're dealing with timeline stuff, it's just like the event is happening before T3 and Genesis in the timeline.
No, I know. I am just saying,
co-opting it.
Dark Fate only considers the first two Terminator films to be canon. That film only considers those to be canon, right? So T3 never happened, obviously, because, at the beginning of Dark Fate, John Connor is killed.
I think the point is,
as a kid,
we're both on the same page here. It doesn't sell for Arnold to be a Terminator anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I think whatever Cameron does, he needs to find himself a new Terminator. Mm-hmm. He needs to find himself a I don't know, top of my head, John Batista, John Cena.
I was just going to say John Cena.
Yeah, like some big muscly guy, maybe somebody from the wrestling world, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not a massive John Cena fan, but he's he's perfect.
He's
for that role.
You.
Well, no, he's perfect for that role. Yeah. Like he's perfect for a man machine kind of role, right? So yeah,
I think you need to get somebody else to play the Terminator, or I don't know. It just
okay.
As much as I like Arnold, I don't think he works.
On to the hot topic here. Final and hottest topic. A topic Carl's dreading, and a topic that I did not send you any source material for in the show notes. I wanted this to be a surprise. Now, I'm going to give a couple disclaimers here. Number one, we're about to give a spoiler for the upcoming Flash movie. This is a spoiler that is small. Basically, we're going to tell you a cameo. Someone who's appearing in this film as a certain character. This is a small, insequential cameo. I have heard from people who have seen it, multiple sources who have already seen it, saw it back at CinemaCon. There isn't even it's not even a speaking line. No words are uttered by this character. It's just kind of an Easter egg. It's just a wink and a nod and a whatever. Does not affect the story. Is just kind of like a blink and you miss it moment. But the reason we're talking about it is because the director Andy Muschietti revealed it. So this isn't something that's like leaked out or, we've got some dirt and we're here to spoil it for you. Nope. No, this is it might as well have been in a trailer because it's just publicly available information now. The other reason that we're talking about... No. The other reason... He's dead. The other reason that we're talking about this is because although it's a cameo that warmed my heart when I heard about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe what I'm hearing. A lot of people... You kind of need some deep cut nerdy knowledge in order to even understand this cameo. And anyone who doesn't, any just like average movie-going person, is going to be sitting in the theater going, wait, what? Why is that person playing that character? That doesn't make any sense to me. And those who do know, people who are in the know, are going to be like standing up and cheering and being like, oh, yes! So... in order to make things hopefully make a little bit more sense for you, without further ado, here it is. So we know The Flash is coming. And we know that we're getting a lot of familiar faces in there, right? I could not be more excited for Michael Keaton as Batman. Could not be more excited. We know that Ben Affleck is coming back to play his version of Batman. We know, because it's been in the trailers, that Jeremy Irons is coming back to play Ben Affleck's Alfred. We know that Michael Shannon is back as General Zod. Right? So it's just like this onslaught smorgasbord of like faces from previous iterations of or previous films, people we haven't seen, characters who had been killed off, blah, blah, blah. I've speculated, and what I want more than anything in the world is for not even in costume, doesn't need to be in costume. I just want at some point Michael Keaton and however many berries there are to be sitting in the cave, and Michelle Pfeiffer walks down the stairs to the Batcave to nag Bruce about something. Oh my gosh, I want that so bad. That would be incredible. So, we know that Andy Muschietti clearly has an affinity for Tim Burton's Batman universe. Right? Because he's bringing Batman back. It's the bat suit, it's the bat cave, it's the Batmobile, it's the same Wayne Manor. Like, it's just like, I'm just so freaking excited, man. Well,
yeah.
Back in the 90s, Tim Burton made 2 Batman films. He made Batman, he made Batman Returns. Batman Returns, he was open to the idea of making a third one. He had a script, a story ready to go for the third one. And then there was kind of this big, like, after he made Batman, Warner Brothers kind of trusted him and gave him a bunch of free reign. And then in Batman Returns, which is still my favorite Batman movie, he delivered a much more Tim Burton film. It was dark, right? You've got like Penguin like oozing black stuff out of his mouth, and like it was dark. And Warner Brothers got in a lot of trouble because McDonald's was putting Batman toys in Happy Meals weeks before the movie came out, and then the movie came out, and it was clearly not a kid film, and it was like, blah, 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 and it's just this whole big mess. And so Tim Burton's talked about, like, I was sitting in the room ready to talk about the third one, and it became very apparent to me very quickly that they didn't actually want me to come back and make a third one, that they were scared, and that because they were like, oh, you don't really want to do a third one, do you kind of want to, like, blah blah blah. And so then he took the hint, and then as a result Michael Keaton didn't come back because he's like, well, if Tim's not there, I don't really want to do it, and blah blah blah. And that's how we got stuck with Joel Schumacher. But there was a period of time in the 90s where Tim Burton was eyeing up a different superhero. And eyeing up to the point that the script was written and like camera tests had been done. There's footage available of the actor in the suit. They were like ready to go. We're making this movie. And then ultimately it didn't happen because there was so much like producers that were trying to get their fingers in and get this done and that made. And we want to add this to the story and we want to do that. And became a big, ugly mess. And so that film was never made. And the majority of you have no idea that film was almost ever even a thing.
But for those of you, if it's who I think you're going to say, this is crazy.
But for those of you who are aware, you are going to lose your mind in a couple of weeks when you're sitting in the theater to watch The Flash and you finally see Nick Cage as Superman.
What? No. Really?
Yeah. In the suit, in the suit that can be seen in those costume tests, like this very skin-tight alien looking. Yeah, I don't know if he's got the long hair. He did have long hair in those images. Yeah. So
my mind is blown.
Not only so, it's not a speaking role, and it's super inconsequential to the story. It's not really it's a movie that's dealing with like alternate timelines and different dimensions and stuff like that. So like it makes sense that you could see him for a couple of seconds on screen. Like that's not a stretch. I got to tell you, this news gets me more excited than just about anything else. Not just because I can't wait to put my eyes upon that, but what it says for the movie as a whole. What it says is Andy Muschietti gets it. The fact that he's doing this tells you so much about his sensibilities surrounding this film. Right? That he hasn't just thrown Michael Keaton in there because sure, why not? That Andy Muschietti is a fan of this stuff, and that he has delivered the film that him as a fan and hopefully the rest of us fans want to see. So there you have it.
Cool.
Nicolas Cage as Superman is in the Flash movie, just very briefly. There he is. And it's worth talking. I know I didn't want to spoil anything for Carl and blah, blah, blah. And it was this whole big, but it's one of those cameos where over half of the theater is going to go,
holy crap.
Why the hell is Nicolas Cage Superman? Like they're going to they're going to be super confused and they're going to think it's a really weird, dumb choice. And it is. But to be clear, it is. But he's in there for a reason. Yeah, the movie was going to be called Superman Lives, and there's actually a really fantastic documentary that you can watch made by the late great John Schnepp, and it's called The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened. And it's got interviews in it from Tim Burton and Kevin Smith and like all the people who, you know, are kind of surrounding the thing and are, you know. But yeah, it was just becoming a mess of a movie, and Tim Burton was like, "Okay, well, F this," and eventually it didn't happen. But yeah. So, Carl, what are your thoughts?
So crazy,
isn't it? Like I did a double take when I heard it.
I'm glad Nick Cage was never Superman, because as much as I like Nicolas Cage, I don't think he would make a very good Superman. Like his speech patterns alone, even though he's a great actor and could probably find a speech pattern that worked, I still don't think the cadence he normally carries in a speech pattern in a film would work.
No, like I can't do this journal story because I have to go fight some bad guys.
Oh man, it just wouldn't work. But like, having him as Superman in this capacity,
it's perfect. It's a perfect way to do this.
Even if like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen him in these pictures of
the pictures
and
shots. I think there's a video, maybe.
There might be a video. Yeah. Like, if you haven't, do yourself a service and Google Nick Cage test shots for Superman. Like, the suit looks okay. It doesn't look okay on him.
It looks Tim Burton,
especially because he's got like long flowy hair.
Yeah,
he just doesn't look like Superman at all.
No.
So my hope is that like the test shots are what he looks like. Like, I hope he doesn't have short hair. I think
he needs a long hair
because oh man. Yeah. Oh, just long, flowy, mullety like hair.
Yeah, there's like a 5-minute video.
With a mullet.
There's like a 5-minute video, and you can see they're in like a hotel room, and they're like doing costume fittings on him, and they're like trying to get it all figured out. And yeah, man, oh man, what a time to like. It's. I know I've said it so many times, and I've never, like, each time I say it, I'm like, oh, well, they're not going to be able to top this. Or I'm like, oh, what a time to be alive, where the Ghostbusters have come back, and Michael Keaton is playing Batman, and we're getting a new Beetlejuice film, and we're getting, like, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I will ever be able to top what a time to be alive. We're about to see Nicolas Cage on screen as Superman. Yeah. It's just nuts.
It's too good.
I hope you're taking notes, James Gunn. I hope you're taking notes.
Yeah. Oh man.
That Nicolas Cage is available and willing to play Superman. There you go. You heard it here first. Man. James Gunn's new Superman is Nicolas Cage. No.
All right, before we close out, let's circle back to Nintendo.
Oh, the Mario thing. Yeah.
What Nintendo properties would you love to see on the silver screen?
So I've actually thought about this, and I'm not alone in this first one. In the first one, Luigi's Mansion, right? Especially because when Mario and Luigi first get separated, Luigi finds himself in sort of this castle-y mansion thing, and there's the Shy Guys are there, and it seems like kind of spooky, and I'm like, oh my god, that's what this is it. That's the dynamic right there. Do this, Luigi's Mansion, fantastic. So that for me is, I think, the only real direct to the Mario universe spinoff that I mean, obviously, like a Super Mario's too. The other one that I think you could really do, and it would scratch the itch of so many fans, and would kind of have sort of that Ready Player One feel, where there's just, oh my gosh, like everybody's in this film, is a Super Smash Bros. Movie. because you could just
that'd be
pull
interesting.
everybody into it. Kirby could be in it, and Samus, and Star Fox, and like you could just have this whole.
Oh man, I forgot you. Oh man, yeah. Okay, so the big ones that come to my mind is Metroid. Like for me, like oh man, I like sci-fi. Man, that'd be a great sci-fi flick.
Yeah, tricky though because it's certainly a less popular game, right? Like you're getting into a more niche
game,
property.
But like Zelda, it's been around for so long enough and had enough games that there is some really deep kind of lore and mythology that's been built into this game, this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh man, you mentioned what was the other one you just mentioned?
Luigi's Mansion.
No.
Smash Bros.
No, it was while you were talking about Smash Bros. Oh, Star Fox.
Star Fox, yeah.
That one, yeah, kind of a similar vein. I think you would get a little bit more. I think Metroid, you could do it live action, and you could get away with it a little easier than Super Mario. Obviously, can't. We've seen that done, and it's horrible. But like, I think Metroid, you could go live action if you wanted to, but it would also be really good in the same animation style. But it's a little bit more. It would be more kind of more mature themes.
Mm-hmm.
Where Star Fox, sci-fi still, right? We're talking about outer space and space travel and space combat.
Yeah.
Star Fox, you could do it just like same look, same tone, same almost everything as the Mario movie, and it would be amazing.
Yeah. Do you know what you could do? I was saying that like that Luigi's Mansion was the only real spinoff because the other, I mean, you start thinking about things like Dr. Mario, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know
Wario,
that there's
Donkey Kong, Yoshi.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's enough there to but you could do. Like if you really break down like, okay, what's happening and why is it happening this way? And maybe it would have like almost a Jumanji feel. Like I don't even know. But I think there's the potential for doing a Mario Party movie.
That might be neat. All right. I'm going to list off a couple fast fires and then I'm going to end with a final one that I think
hot
would
take.
be,
all right.
Would be like, oh no, wait, no, sorry. The final one I'm thinking of isn't a Marvel property at all.
Well, it doesn't need to be Marvel. It needs to be Nintendo.
Or Nintendo, sorry. Yeah, it's not a Nintendo property. So you could have Kirby.
Yep.
Kirby would be cool. The Animal Crossing games have some popularity. Fire Emblem is a really popular RPG for RPG people. But again, kind of like even more so than with with Metroid, it's lesser known.
Yeah.
There's Pikmin.
Yeah.
Pokemon, but Pokemon's already been done.
Yeah, and that's kind of its own like.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
And then there's like I'm just kind of looking at a bunch of games in the list here. Yeah. The rest, everything else is a little lesser known. The other game that came to mind, but then I realized just before I started spouting the list off that it wouldn't work because it's not.
I think I know what you're going to say. I think I know
Kingdom
what you're going to
Hearts.
say. Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say. Interesting. Okay.
Kingdom Hearts would be a cool movie, but that it's not Nintendo. It's a Sony Disney game.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
other one that I thought, although it's like, even though you were playing it on Nintendo devices, it's technically a Capcom property, was Mega Man.
Oh man. You mentioning, I did think about that. Like with Nintendo having their own kind of production company now for movies and the success of the Mario movie, they could approach other studios, video game studios, and say, hey, let's make a film about your game. Like you were just saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What about like a Street Fighter, a proper Street Fighter movie?
Mm-hmm. I think they just have like so much of their own stuff to make before they...
Capcom has made some TV shows and comic books and movies about Street Fighter. And there's a lot of lore and story there to be told. But like, put some like real money behind that. I think it'd be really good.
I can definitely see them going the Donkey Kong route. It just sucks that they chose Seth Rogen.
Oh, it's so bad. They could recast him, but...
Just make it a Diddy movie. Just a movie about Diddy.
Man, Seth, he totally ruined that role.
Oh, yeah.
So disappointing.
Yeah.
What a doink.
Broke my heart. Broke my heart.
Doink.
Yeah. Well, that'll do
Rogen,
it.
You're a doink.
That'll do it. That's the news in a nutshell. You know, it's just that's the short version. That's just you know. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all listed down below. We also have a merch page.
Merch. Get your merch.
There you go. And also a Patreon page, which is a great way to support the show for as little as $1 a month and receive some pretty sick exclusive perks in return. And so that's definitely something you don't want to miss out on. What about a Pac-Man movie?
Ooh, there you go. That would be interesting.
I mean, you'd have to really that'd be quite an adaptation, right? Like you have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as simple as the other one. I mean, and again, you'd have to really adapt it. You got to like turn it into it. They'd essentially have to do with this what they had to do with the Angry Birds movies, where it's like it's like, but it's quite a bit different. Like they've had to actually create narrative. But Duck Hunt.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
kind of do the who was it? Was it College Humor that did the little skit where the hound jumps behind the grass and then you kind of get a reverse side to see what he's doing over there, and he's actually like talking to the ducks and like giving them their jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, you fly really fast and don't let them hit you, and you fly really slow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know my one criticism? Do you know what I want to see more than anything in Super Mario Brothers 2? Because I thought this was like such a lost opportunity and should have been a part of what helped Mario defeat Bowser in the end.
A Tukey suit?
Power glove. Right? Nice. You need the power glove in there.
Yeah.
Right now, everyone listening is like, what the hell is a power glove?